Welcome back to Whispering Pages. If you were here for part 1 of this series, you've already started building a new scoreboard, one that measures time wealth, social wealth, and mental wealth alongside the financial and professional markers most of us grew up chasing. Tonight we complete the picture. But first, let's arrive here. Fully. Take one slow breath in through your nose, not forced, not deep for its own sake, just a natural, full breath. And let it go slowly through your mouth. Again, in. A little fuller this time. And out, letting your whole body soften as the air releases. Feel your shoulders. Are they up near your ears? Let them drop. Feel your jaw. Is it holding anything? Let it go. Feel the weight of your legs, your arms, the back of your head resting on your pillow. You don't have to hold any of that up anymore. One more breath. In. And out. Notice how the room feels a little quieter now. Here's what's happening as you settle in. The 30 minutes before sleep is one of the most powerful learning windows your brain has. As you transition toward rest, your mind becomes unusually receptive, and what you absorb in this window consolidates deeply into memory while you sleep. So this is not passive time. This is learning, done gently, in exactly the right conditions. Tonight we finish the 5 Types of Wealth by Sahil Bloom. We'll cover physical wealth and financial wealth, the final 2 dimensions of the framework, then step back to reflect on what the book does well, where it has limits, and the question Bloom most wants you to carry forward. So let's begin. Get comfortable. Close your eyes if you'd like. And let's whisper through this one together. The 4th type of wealth is physical wealth, and Bloom approaches it not as a fitness chapter but as a chapter about the most fundamental asset you have, the body you live inside. Everything else in the framework runs on this. He opens with Dan Go, raised in a small town in Ontario, the son of Filipino-Chinese immigrants who moved the family to Canada when Dan was 2 years old. He was bullied severely as a child, told he was small, dumb, and wouldn't amount to anything. By his early 20s he had dropped out of high school and was trapped in a daily cycle of eating, drinking, and getting through one more miserable day at a job he hated. He couldn't look at himself in the mirror. He couldn't imagine a future. At his lowest point, his brother received a 1-month gym pass from their father, didn't want it, and passed it to Dan. Dan almost didn't take it. But something in him, the recognition that the path he was on led nowhere good, made him walk through the door. The first day was rough. He was out of breath within minutes, bored, embarrassed, sure he'd never come back. But the next day he did come back. And the day after that. By day 14 he felt a faint spark of energy. By day 30, getting dressed for work, he had to buckle his belt 1 notch tighter. That notch, that single, small piece of evidence, changed everything. Dan went on to become one of the most well-known health coaches in the online space. But the story isn't about transformation into someone extraordinary. It's about what happens when someone decides to treat their body like a house they have to live in, and starts doing the maintenance. Physical wealth is built on 3 pillars: movement, nutrition, and recovery. Movement means consistent, progressive exercise. Bloom is careful to point out that strength training becomes more important, not less, as you age. Muscle mass is one of the most powerful predictors of healthy longevity, and the research is unambiguous. People who maintain strength into their 60s, 70s, and 80s have dramatically better outcomes across nearly every health measure. Nutrition means eating food that is primarily whole and unprocessed. Bloom doesn't prescribe a specific diet. He draws a contrast between someone like Brian Johnson, the entrepreneur spending over $2 million a year on biological age reversal, with 30 doctors monitoring hundreds of biomarkers, and the approach available to the rest of us. He spent an afternoon with Johnson and admits the precision is remarkable. But his point is that the research consistently shows the basics produce the vast majority of the benefits. Complexity is optional. Consistency is not. Recovery means sleep, and Bloom treats this as the pillar most people sacrifice without realizing it. He presents 9 evidence-based principles: consistent sleep and wake times, temperature management, morning light exposure to set the circadian clock, and the avoidance of screens before bed. The compounding damage of chronic undersleep on cognition, emotional regulation, immune function, and physical health is well documented. Sleep is not a luxury. It is the recovery window on which everything else runs. The physical wealth chapter ends with a question Bloom calls the 80th birthday test. Will you be dancing at your 80th birthday party? The spirit of the question is this: are you making the daily investments now that will determine the quality of your life in 20, 30, 40 years? Physical wealth is the one wealth type where the choices you make today have a genuinely irreversible impact on your future self. You can always earn more money. You can always rebuild a relationship. But you cannot go back and undo a decade of neglecting your body. The good news, you can start today. And starting today compounds. The fifth and final type of wealth is financial wealth. And this is where Bloom makes a move that might surprise you, given how much the book has pushed back against the conventional obsession with money. He doesn't dismiss it. He gives it a full section. Because financial wealth, handled well, is genuinely important, not as an end in itself, but as a tool. The right amount of money creates options. It gives you the freedom to protect your time, invest in your relationships, take care of your health, and pursue the things that actually matter. Money isn't the problem. The mindless, infinite accumulation of money as a substitute for the things money is supposed to enable, that's the problem. The chapter opens with a poem by Kurt Vonnegut about his friend Joseph Heller, the author of Catch-22. The two were at a party thrown by a billionaire. Vonnegut asked how it felt to know their host might have made more money in a single day than Heller's novel had earned in its entire history. Heller replied, "I've got something he can never have. The knowledge that I've got enough." That phrase, "the knowledge that I've got enough," is the foundation of this entire section. Bloom calls it finding your lagom, a Swedish word meaning just the right amount. Not maximum, just right. The enough life. And here's the quiet crisis most high-achieving people face: they've never actually defined enough. They have a vague sense of wanting more security, more options, more cushion, but they've never sat down and described, in concrete terms, what a life they'd actually want looks like. Where do you live? Who do you live with? What does a regular Tuesday look like? What do you own that genuinely brings joy? How much in savings would let you sleep soundly? When enough is undefined, it inflates constantly. Whatever you have becomes not quite enough. The goalpost moves. And the chase continues, quietly consuming the time, social, and mental wealth you've been trying to build. Financial wealth rests on 3 pillars: income generation, expense management, and long-term investment. The critical insight is the gap between income and expenses. That gap is the foundational asset on which all financial wealth is built. You invest the gap in long-term, compounding assets. You grow the gap by increasing income and controlling expenses. Bloom references Thomas Stanley's research from The Millionaire Next Door, which showed that the people quietly building real wealth were rarely the ones driving luxury cars. They were the ones with controlled lifestyles and long investment horizons. He introduces the return on hassle spectrum, a way of evaluating investments not just by expected return but by the complexity and stress they add to your life. A rental property might return well, but it comes with tenants, maintenance, and calls at midnight about broken boilers. An index fund requires almost nothing. If you're building time wealth and social wealth simultaneously, the hassle cost matters. And then there's what he calls the single greatest investment in the world: yourself. Your skills, your knowledge, your network, your health. Every hour invested in your own capabilities compounds in ways that financial assets cannot match. For most people in their 20s and early 30s, the highest return investment available isn't in the stock market. It's in becoming dramatically more capable and valuable. Bloom ends the financial wealth section with a quiet reframe. Successful people aren't doing what they love because they're rich. They're rich, in the full sense of all 5 wealth types, because they learned to do what they love, and built everything else around it. The book closes by returning to where it began, with the wisdom of people who have lived long enough to see clearly. Before diving into the 5 types, Bloom conducts what he calls the 1,000 years of wisdom exercise. On his birthday in 2022, he reached out to a dozen people in their 80s and 90s, his 94-year-old grandmother in India, a 98-year-old Hollywood screenwriter, the 8-year-old father of a friend, a 92-year-old man who had just lost his wife of 70 years, and asked each of them the same question: what advice would you give to your younger self? The responses varied in tone. Some were playful: dance at weddings until your feet are sore. Some were poetic: never fear sadness, as it tends to sit right next to love. Some were plain-spoken: treat your body like a house you have to live in for another 70 years. Minor issues become major issues if left unattended. And one, from the man who had just lost his wife, brought tears to both of them. Tell your partner you love them every night before falling asleep. Someday you'll find the other side of the bed empty, and you'll wish you could. When Bloom stepped back and looked at all the answers together, no one had talked about their career achievements. No one had mentioned a deal they were proud of, a title they'd earned, or an amount of money they'd accumulated. Every piece of wisdom pointed, in some form, to the same 5 dimensions: time, connection, purpose, health, and enough. The framework wasn't invented. It was extracted from 1,000 years of lived experience. Bloom also introduces the concept of true north, a life compass rather than a life map. A map tells you where things are. A compass tells you which direction you're heading. Most high achievers have detailed life maps, career plans, financial targets, 5-year goals, but no compass. And without a compass, you can follow the map perfectly and still arrive somewhere you didn't want to be. Paired with true north is the concept of anti-goals, defining the life you definitely don't want before defining the one you do. What trade-offs are you unwilling to make? What version of success would make you miserable even if you achieved it? Anti-goals don't replace goals. They act as guardrails, keeping you from winning the wrong race. The book also addresses the idea of seasons, that different chapters of life call for different emphases across the 5 wealth types. A young entrepreneur might reasonably invest heavily in financial and career building for a season. A parent of young children might dial back ambition to protect the narrow window with their kids. The mistake isn't prioritizing one wealth type in a season. The mistake is letting that prioritization become permanent without ever consciously choosing it. The 5 types of wealth are not a to-do list. They're a compass. You hold all 5 in view and make conscious decisions about where to invest your energy, one season at a time. Where does this book sit among others in its field? The closest companion is Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money, a book we've covered on Whispering Pages, and one that does for financial thinking what Bloom attempts to do across all 5 dimensions. Housel shows you how to relate to money wisely, the role of luck, the danger of comparisons, the importance of enough. But Housel deliberately stays within the financial lane. If The Psychology of Money left you wanting a broader framework, one that situates financial decisions inside a fuller picture of what a good life requires, The 5 Types of Wealth is a natural next read. Bloom doesn't replace Housel's financial depth. He gives it context, money in service of something larger. The comparison book that fills a different and important gap is 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman, where Bloom gives you the time wealth hard reset and the Eisenhower matrix, practical systems for protecting your finite hours. Burkeman goes further into the philosophy of why we resist finitude in the first place. Why does productivity feel like a moral virtue? Why do we feel guilty about rest? Berkman's argument is that accepting we can never do everything, rather than optimizing our way out of that reality, is the more honest and ultimately more peaceful path. The 2 books are genuinely complementary. Bloom makes you more intentional with your time. Berkman makes you more at peace with its limits. Now, honestly, where does this book fall short? The most significant limitation is depth. 5 major domains of human life, each with entire fields of research devoted to it, cannot receive full treatment in a single book. Some sections, particularly financial wealth and the guide systems within mental wealth, hover at the level of well-organized common sense rather than genuinely new insight. The guide sections are useful starting points, not destinations. A second limitation is the audience assumption. The book presupposes a certain baseline of stability, the ability to think days, move across the country, explore angel investing. The advice scales down, but the emotional register is firmly aimed at someone who already has traction and is trying to redirect it. If you're still building foundational stability, some of the life design language will feel distant. Third, the book relies almost entirely on personal stories and curated anecdotes. These are often genuinely moving, but the evidentiary base for some of the framework's specific claims is thinner than the confident tone suggests. A book making claims about what produces a good life would be stronger with more systematic research alongside the narrative. None of this undermines the book's core value. For anyone who has been optimizing for a scoreboard they never chose, and who is ready to ask better questions, this book offers a clear, compassionate, and genuinely useful framework for doing exactly that. So what do you carry forward from all of this? Maybe the most important thing is simply this: you are already wealthy in ways you haven't measured. You have time, not unlimited time, but some. You have people who love you, or the capacity to build them. You have a mind that can grow. A body that, with care, can carry you much further than you might expect. And you have, or are building, the financial resources to fund the life you actually want. The question isn't whether you have the raw materials for a rich life. You do. The question is whether you're measuring the right things and making conscious choices about where to invest. The book doesn't ask you to do everything at once. It asks you to take the wealth score, to run the time wealth hard reset on one person you love, To write down what your enough life actually looks like, not in the abstract, but in specific, vivid detail. To ask what your 10-year-old self would think of where you are now. Small starting moves. But starting moves matter. Direction matters more than speed. What stays with me most about this book is the image of two people who weren't supposed to find each other. A woman from Bangalore, a man from the Bronx, each choosing to deviate from the paths laid out for them, and building a life neither had been told to expect. Their son grew up in that spirit of quiet refusal, and now he's asking you to carry it forward. The scoreboard you inherited wasn't designed for you. The work of building a genuinely rich life begins the moment you decide to design your own. Sleep well. Let these ideas settle in quietly while you rest. And we'll see you at Whispering Pages for the next one.